they were to be able to bestow upon you significant value in society for just like they do for, hey, I'd like to cut my penis off or add a penis which is not mine because I feel that those things reflect who I am.
Right.
The genders don't matter, but I want to surgically present myself as a gender for which I just said didn't matter, which makes a lot of sense. What
Right.
would you represent yourself as? What would you say, hey, government, when you recognize that I'm a man who likes this, I should get jobs as a result of liking this, like the guy in Penn State that fucked his dog. But, maybe yours is not like that. I would assume
Well,
that you're a dog fucker.
No, I'm not interested in a dog. If
Turtle.
I were,
Turtle.
well, no, if I could cure cancer or like feed the poor or some shit, and they said I had to fuck a dog, I'll tell you, it would be a collie, because collies and
they are
Afghans
hot
are like very beautiful. So
dogs, yeah.
if I had to, it'd be a collie. But yeah, that guy was way out of line. And no, not at all. I'm what they call if as long as people have labels, I'm a super straight. See, I don't even.
Can I just real quick
Yes.
Oh, sure.
bring us to a grinding? Sandro just said I would fuck a collie.
He did. He just said he'd fuck a collie.
I said I'd fuck a collie to cure cancer and to feed the poor. I'm saying if I were forced to do something, if I had to fuck a dog, it's going to be a collie.
Okay.
It's not going to be a pit bull. It's not going to be.
I didn't hear the cancer, but I didn't
Jimmy,
hear the cancer
Yeah,
part. Those hungry
That's
kids
very important.
starve their ass off. Fuck their hungry kids, but I'll cure cancer.
Jimmy, can I translate what he just said? He said a lot of words. He said, I would fuck a collie. And then everything else is fairly irrelevant to the whole thing.
Ridiculous. But let's be serious about Pride Month. You're trying to take it in an ugly direction. The truth of it is, I'm what they call a super straight.
You just said collies are pretty dogs, and you're telling me
They're
taking
gorgeous.
ugly direction.
Well, hey, listen, I'm not even bullshitting. Listen, now there's a guy like in my neighborhood. Listen,
a pit bull to cure cancer.
absolutely. To cure cancer?
That makes sense.
Well, anything. I'd probably fuck anything. Cure cancer. Come on.
Yeah.
I'd fuck a pit bull to cure herpes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hey, but what I'm saying is, listen.
COVID-19.
Nah, that's all right. No, thanks.
That's easily cured. That's like the common.
Listen, there's a guy in my neighborhood that walks the collie, and I'm telling you, since I seen this story, I think it was yesterday morning. Now I see that guy, and any man I ever see now walking a collie, I'm gonna be like, he's going to the woods, that motherfucker. I'm gonna always have a weird feeling about a man who has a collie, because they're like just fluffy. They're like, people talk about foo-foo dogs, little dogs, and all that. This is a big foo-foo dog.
Hold on. Is that what the guy fucked was a collie?
It was a collie.
Oh, who can blame him? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what I said. I said jokingly. I said, listen, I get it. Look how beautiful they are.
I'm lost though. Hold on. You know a guy that fucked a collie?
Yeah, the professor from Penn State. I sent you guys the article. The professor from Penn State since 2014 has been caught on trail cams wearing a ski mask, no pants, and carrying an iPad and having sexual encounters with his colleagues.
Okay,
He's been doing it.
Okay.
Right, well, he's been arrested. He's being charged. It's a pretty big deal. But he lost his job as a professor. But they said since 2014 they've caught him on trail cams, but they can never identify him until they saw his Subaru and got the license plate.
Why would they kick him out from being a professor? I think he should be, well, at the highest level of professor. I've been thinking about this story a lot because my initial reaction was, are there any states that have bestiality legal? And the answer is yes. And then I first went, you know what? I'm going to move to one of those states. And I'm going to run for elected office. And my entire platform is going to be, you can't fuck animals. And I'm going to overturn the bestiality laws. So I think West Virginia or Kentucky is one of those. There's four states.
Couple. But I think that they've already brought new laws there.
Yeah, but the laws
in recent years.
The laws are, just so you know, because I did actually Google this, the laws are, if the animal is severely harmed during the act, then it's a crime.
Well, do you know what? There have been studies listed like underground stuff, but you can find them. Let me tell you something. You want to know what the most common?
Trying to have a goddamn. I'm trying to explain what I'm going with. I'm running for election, and going. No bestiality. That's the entire platform. Well, what do you?
No one would dare resist you.
I'd be like, look, I understand that there's job issues, and I understand China's a problem. But I'm just here to talk about no longer fucking your animals or your dog. And I think that my opponent here,
Anybody who votes against you is
my opponent over there is for fucking dogs and horses. I'm disgusted by this. And I believe I'm the person to care. The first order of business I have is to get rid of bestiality. No more animals, no more horses, no more chickens. These poor chickens are being tormented all over you.
Well,
Don't
I'm
even
totally against that.
And yes, your ducks, if you ever have a turkey on Thanksgiving, you think you're stuffing it for the first time. Wrong. It's been stuffed by the guy down the street, and my opponent is 100% for this.
It's not as rare as you think. I bet people that you know that you respect have fucked an animal.
I'm going to tell you, I read some deep, dark dark web articles. I'm going to tell you what the real number one thing is, and it's going to shock you guys. It happens every day in every house.
Okay, what is it? Playing with the nipples of your dog.
Women passively allowing their dog to lick them. I was reading all these crazy unknown like surveys about all this shit. And it's more common than you think. Because listen, well, and philosophically, it's not really wrong. Like if a guy holds a dog down and fucks it, you're abusing an animal. Let's be real. You're forcing an animal to do something. You don't know what the animal's thinking. But as far as passively laying there and allowing your little lap dog, as they're called, to catch a treat and lick a sweet treat for 10 minutes and whatever, that shit goes on, man. Women are freaks, bro.
Are you saying what you
hey, what if the dog is what if the dog is same sex? Does that translate over?
Then they're LGBTQ, they're LGBTQ plus 2A.
Is it a lesbian?
Plus K9, LGBTQ plus K9.
Well, listen, I'm sure that's what the plus probably means, especially with this professor, man. He's got, I mean, it's all coming out. That must be the plus.
What you're
really they're saying, what's wrong with what he did? What's wrong with it? If
he abused the animal,
is right, you could.
He abused the animal.
It hurts you. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
He's forcing himself on the animal. Now, if a person was to just, like a woman lay there and let her little Shih Tzu or whatever the fuck dog it is come up and lick her between the legs, nobody's around, no harm done. That women anonymously admit to. You'd be shocked how many women admit to having let their own family dog do that.
Do you think?
What about a Great Dane? What about
Shut up, Jimmy? God damn it! Shit. You sat on my Shih Tzu joke. You literally came in over my Shih Tzu joke, which was for the asshole, and it went straight to the Great Dane, which would have been great if you had a punchline for the Great or the Dame. Maybe Great Dame. I don't know. That would work, maybe.
No, these are dark times. These are dark times, and we can laugh on this.
Joke in the fucking world.
What are you talking about? A dog licking the asshole called Shih Tzu? As he worked in Shih Tzu, it was a perfect setup. I was just there with a pitch coming, going, "Here it comes!" And you came just boom. I'm like, "What about shits?" And you're like, "Great Dane." I'm like, "God damn it!" It's like a heckler. It's like a heckler during a punchline. Like, hey, fuck your mother.
Bro, it's crazy, bro. I'm telling you, it's funny. We can sit here and laugh about this debauchery when that just shows you how fucked up our whole culture is, man. We got trannies on the White House lawn, guys fucking their collies. Man, we're in some shit, bro.
The amazing thing is you actually made a delineation between men fucking dogs and women fucking dogs. The male version, even though the dog might be receiving pleasure. And might be more self.
There is a delineation. There is a delineation
and the
there.
Women one where the dog is just, going to town because it's licking something. Maybe it's peanut butter or honey.
Doesn't have to. Once a woman starts getting wet, it's yes, of course, the dog's going to keep going to town.
Well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. If a woman puts jelly on her vagina, it'd be one thing, right? But what if it's like a really spicy, like ghost pepper jelly? And the dog.
Why would any woman do that?
and the dog gets harmed during the
That
course.
would be animal abuse. That's
Yeah.
What if it's
animal abuse.
chocolate?
Don't you think that there could
That
be
could kill him.
Or what if it's grape? Grapes kill dogs. Chocolate kills
Onions, a few different things. But why? Listen, I don't want to know the woman who puts onions and hot peppers on her, whatever.
Why wouldn't you want a woman like that? I think that should be the exact woman that you want to bring home to mom. She,
Yeah, okay.
she would be a culinary expert. I guarantee she'd be a great chef. She'd
Hey,
be like,
Ma.
I know. Hey, Mom. I got the girl I want to introduce you to. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about animals banging people, people banging animals a tremendous amount this week as a result of the story, to the point where I said, you know what? If somebody did that to my dog, I'd fucking shoot him, was my first reaction.
Yeah, you'd want to kill him with it.
But wait a second. Then I said, but would I? Would I really do that? Or would I just laugh so fucking?
Well, I'm gonna say, listen, you raped my dog. I'm not gonna kill you. I'm not gonna be a murderer over a dog, but I will.
This is not meant for you to go, I'm going to kill somebody for their pet.
No.
Go nuts. The point here is that if you saw somebody, let's say it's Jimmy in the woods with a golden retriever, and you walked up at Jimmy, wouldn't you just be like, Jimmy, what are you doing?
Jimmy, the jig is up. The jig is up, Jimmy. He knows.
Jimmy, that's a golden retriever. Like what, like, you know what I mean? Everyone thinks like, oh my God, I'd kill whoever's doing that. But then in the reality moment, there's such a huge piece of humor there that how do you react when you see somebody fucking a skunk and, or fucking a horse or jerking off a horse? It is absolutely despicable legally, and those people are sick. But when you see it, you catch it, and you actually pretend you're walking up, and all of a sudden somebody's getting railed by a horse, I'm not calling 911 right away. I'm actually going to sit there and.
Well, I'm definitely going to film them. My point is, I'm gonna extort them.
I've got a few.
If I walked into Sandro's living room and he's fucking one of those tortoises.
Collie. Likes collies. Collies are hot.
No, tortoise. No, he fucks tortoises.
Oh, that'd be great. Snapper, like
They can't get away. They're slow. They can't get away.
Just let it snap on his balls. What if
I would have to pretend I didn't see it.
Dead serious. Let's say that we walked in. Sandro, let's say that you divulged on the podcast, and I'm not saying you will, that your thing was letting snapper kernels snap on your nipples, and that you like the babies because you could get away with it, but I like to let the snapping, it turns me on to let a snapping turtle go on my nipple. Would that be enough for us to end the relationship with Sandro? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, you know what? I might send you some clamps. I might get you a clamp so you don't have to have a turtle.
Well, I'm going to tell you about that. Listen, if that was something 10 years ago, man, I would say you're so full of shit. It's so outlandish. I was thinking about George Carlin the other day, and he said one of his things he did. He said, "I'm going to say a sentence that's never been uttered in the history of the language." And he goes, "I'm going to chop my dick off and then shove this poker up my ass." And that was hilarious. It was back in the 80s because you thought about it and you said, "Yeah, right. No one's ever said that. That's crazy talk." But nowadays, I was actually thinking about this. Nowadays, the idea of I'm going to chop my dick off and chug this, certainly somebody's saying that right now as we speak. So like his comedy routine is obsolete, but it was very prescient at the time. But now anything goes. So putting some snapping turtles on my nipples or doing some outlandish shit like that, it's certainly probably not the craziest shit that's happened. Probably within 100 miles of where I live, there's something crazier than that's happened in reality. So anything you say is not outlandish.
What is the most sensual reptile?
Sensual reptile. Well, back in The Simpsons, I remember Bleeding Gums Murphy said, "I love the smooth curves of a lady snake." And then he beat the snake, killed them all. But yeah, so I guess you'd have to say a snake, right?
Snakes are.
I mean, you seen Salma Hayek dancing with a snake in From Dusk Till Dawn, I mean, that's as sensual as it gets as far as reptiles.
That's the best. That's the tattoo everybody gets. Everybody has this snake on their body.
Yeah, and there's always some stripper somewhere carrying a boa constrictor around her neck or some shit.
I've never seen a stripper with a boa constrictor around her
Oh, I
neck.
have. Actually, I gave one to a stripper who used them in her act. She had a whole bunch of them, and I had like an
Are you-
8 foot. She couldn't. I didn't know what to do with it. So, I had to rehome it. It was too big. It escaped, and so I gave it to a stripper. She used it in her act.
Probably brought it down to Florida. You son of a bitch. You're responsible.
Yes, she did bring it to Florida. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, snakes are, snakes are snakes. I used to have a pet copperhead. I used to have for a few days, I had a
Why
boa.
would you have a pet? That's a dick.
I haven't caught I catch a copperhead with my bare hands once a year, and I'll show you it when I catch mine for this summer. I will show you it.